Okay then, game number 3 is right now going to be Albis on his solo base home map, and it's going to be Savannah and, well, Thor Lucky Thor from them against Double Zeus and Oranos yet again from TSMs. From TSMs, and, well, right now we are looking at the spawn on the left side with Iron Maiden right off the bat casting his Dwarven Gold Mine for the extra gold gathering. And, well, otherwise we are seeing some extra berries on the forefront, and he will be trying to find some extra hunt which he sees on the back. Yeah, a bit of gazelles together with zebras. And otherwise he has found also some extra berries, and he's looking for the hunt that is bound to be somewhere in the front of his base. And that should be a bunch of giraffes right now, but not really having any luck with that so far. The pocket for the team is Recon at this point. He's playing also the Thor here, and otherwise having the berries at the back, gold in the forefront, and having the giraffes in the front as well. Well, this should result in already maybe having the hunting dogs, of course, as is usual on this map. Otherwise, the third one from AoL is Berserker on the left, who is playing the side here and having quite a decent herd of both gazelles and zebras, so he will be spending quite some time at this hunting spot. And so far he has been scouting at the back with his Ulsark, and, well, he has already discovered those extra monkeys, and with them some berries as well. Right now he is moving still at the back, not interested in the front. Not yet one of those AoLs are going in for the front scouting, just AoL Iron Maiden did a bit of run around here, discovering the gold around his base and some extra berries, but that's about it. And right now this is just building the house here, trying to fill the holes here, and so that he can wall up as efficiently as possible. And also so that he has a line of sight when his opponents are trying to raid him, when he will be at this gold in the later game. So some first relic in the middle, where Xenia has sent some of her oracles. That's better hoplite, spearman, whatnot, hack attack. Not bad, especially considering that we have double Zeuses here. And cheaper archer troll and whatnot archer cost. Oh, that's pretty great. This is probably going to result in one of those Zeuses, if they capture this, going for toxots, and then not the hoplites together with hippicons. So let's see if that will be the truth. And the first to have a look at from TSMs is Fan at the very bottom, who is seeing one extra zebra in the front, but he has just discovered where the giraffes are, and this is going to be the next hunting spot for him. Otherwise, not much interesting, just some hyena here and gold next to his DC, which is kind of not greatly placed because it's kind of out of the map, and it's not really a strategical position at all. Much more strategical position isn't better for this TC either, so they are really just out of the game here, not really all that interesting at all. But still, they are the front TCs, so there might be some battles going on between this TC and also this TC between the teams. Alright then. Otherwise, I'm just gonna have a look at Xenia, who is for the first time not in the pocket, but on the top side, and a player is playing the pocket for them. So, how's it looking the map for her? The back TC is nice, second one also, and that's quite a lot of hunt at the back for both Xenia and possibly player. It's kind of common for them all, and, well, extra berries and extra hunt and just the monkeys. I was kind of thinking that it might be some extra giraffes, but not really. And, well, yeah, this is pretty cool for a player, and he will be spending some happy time hunting, killing giraffes, skinning them down and feeding them to his willies. Well, this is, wow, town center populations loss. This is pretty great. This is pretty great and should be a target for any of the players, literally, in this game, because this really is super important. And some other relics here, we have seen this, and at the very bottom, 10% villager speed, not half bad. It would have been great for especially the Atlanta and Xenia, but that's seriously far behind, or far away from her. So I kinda guess this is going to be captured by some of the AoLs. We are at 345, which means advances from Fen 30% into Hermes. So he will be aiming into raiding with centaurs probably. Player is not advancing yet, but since he is gathering favor, it is probably going to be another Hermes for him. Yep, you can see it. 5-minute advance, that's not really fast. Not really all that fast. 50% into Xenia. Xenia's Prometheus, and otherwise for the opponents you have 50% into Berserker's Loki and Forseti, of course. And, well, you can see that Recon is already walling up and preparing for the raiding to come inside his base, especially for Xenia, from Xenia, and also the Centaurs from the Double Zeus. At this point, quite curious why TSMs aren't walling already, because they should expect a pretty heavy raid-in, especially since they have been abused by it in the first game quite a lot. 86% into Freya here, and Iron Maiden already through for Seti. So quite a lot of different gods here, and well, yeah, just now waiting for the first longhouses and the first ready cavalry to come out of their stables, which are called longhouses. Well, at this point, the assembler is still happily gathering food here, but it's probably not going to last until everything is dead here, because he should be under attack really seriously soon. And that's the first Herseer actually, and it means that AoL Iron Maiden is very well aware that Centaurs are going to make an appearance here, and they want to be prepared for those raidings, and it seems like they won't be really all that aggressive themselves, as they are more expecting that their opponents will be raiding them. Right now, Iron Maiden finishing the walls. This is more of a strategical wall, not really anything else, otherwise the wall would be like here, which it isn't. And well, some first units, especially from Berserker, the first Herseers of the Loki, are entering the battlefield here and stealing a pretty important relic here. Yeah, they definitely should have went for the TSMs, because it's super important for the archers and the centaurs. And well, who comes first? Captures the relic. So that's a huge win for AoLs, because if it went for TSMs, they wouldn't be very happy about that when they learned it in the extra messages here. And well, a lot of goats here for Fen, and also trying to wall up, which is a pretty good idea. And what is his game plan? Double stable. For player, it's one stable so far, and that's about it. And well, this is already a raiding cavalry coming in from Fen together with the Centaur. So let's see how successful they are going to be, and I think quite a lot, because player was just at the right time and at the right spot, because he has just seen that these 7 Willies from Recon are gathering wood, or rather food, at the back, and well, they will be quite successful at raiding here, because this wall is not finished yet, and they might get through on the right side. No, they can't. well, well, that was a huge luck for Recon, because these were just the open doors, actually, at those back Willies, and right now that's not going to be so easily raided. Xenia, though, is having a pretty good line of sight through this Oracle here as well, and we have seen Bolt at the Valkyrie at the back, and well, Xenia is pretty heavily raided by the Loki right now, and she is probably going to lose the tower unless she researches them fast enough, and she doesn't have enough army at this point, and she isn't even fighting. And it seems like she needs the help from her allies player, who is the only one who has went for a second DC pretty soon. So it seems like a 2 TC boom from this Zeus, but not really enough army here, and he's still happily gathering food at this hunting spot. Well, that's quite interesting. The army for Xenia that was aimed at some raiding is pretty much getting killed at this point, and well, this is going to be easy for Berserker to defend, especially when the armies are not so strong from both Fen and Xenia, and player is having no army whatsoever. He's just booming into Mythic at this point, and well, it's kind of not that good news for Berserker's opponent Xenia, because she's getting hammered pretty bad, and right now she's finally retreating home and will be forced to defend. And even though she lost the tower here, it still might be worth it, because the 2 TC boom from player might be the thing that is going to win the game. At this point though, player is going to be forced off foot, and since he doesn't have anything to protect him, and Fen doesn't have anything here either, and this is a pretty huge army from both Recon and Iron Maiden, I'm not exactly sure how player is hoping to defend against this. Maybe some research into towers? Not yet. Not yet, and he has returned with at least a few of those Epicons, and let's have a look how Fen is doing. He's having a pretty good army here. And Kataskopos is here just waiting, seeing those Willies, seeing the DC, just waiting for someone to arrive. There is a freeway, but at the same time it's kinda hard to get there, because Xenia is defending, player is defending as well, and Fen had to retreat to home, because, yeah, this raiding is pretty heavy, and it's not like TSMs are having enough army to protect or their Willies all around the map. Right now, Fen will be pretty heavily raided here. Yeah, this is just aiming at the correct spot. Will his Hippicons be home in time? No, they won't, even though they are right now mediums. And Maiden is going from the left side as well, and this wall could just save the TC. Yeah, TC is right now down, so no, it didn't really need saving, but Iron Maiden is trying to build with a beachhead at the back of Fenn's face, which is definitely surprising, and it's not as much surprising. Oh well, he wasn't. He was just trying to actually disrupt the path in here, but it might have been a pretty good idea from Iron Maiden, totally disrupt the food gathering for Fenn. But well, it's just disruption of pathing, and it's buying extra time for Fenn to get back at those Hersiers, and even though he's going to lose a few of those Willies, he will kill this army without any problem at this point, I think. I'm not exactly sure how they could actually run away from all those Hippicons. On the left side, not much is going to happen from Iron Maiden because the TC is already built, and well, somewhere else, Xenia is still trying to raid somehow. Right now, dividing army, which is a pretty good idea, and the Murmilos are heading south here, and since they know that there are some extra villies, and actually quite a lot of them, and the Kataskopos might be dead, but they are well aware that the economy has been there, and right now Xenia is just confirming, and she will know that the raid in here is a pretty good idea altogether. She is probably going to lose the units if she's to encounter some of those. Yeah, she's going for the fight, so she might be losing them, but at the same time it's just a confirmation that TSMs have a pretty good spot to go at Raidenu. Right now, Fan is not really returning here anytime soon, so Recon will not be having any luck. And well, he is right now defending with everything he can. And TCs are just coming up as Iron Maiden together with Recon are both at 2 TCs at this point. Player is finishing walls all around his team base. Yeah, just now defending also Xenia, who is sticking with some of these armies inside her base, and all 3 TSMs are at 2 TCs. And I'm just going to check how's it looking for player who might be thinking about possibly 3rd TC or advancing into heroic. Well, he definitely should, and he is, as armor is being built, because Berserker and Recon are both through Bragi, and well, those 2 ceasefires will be pretty crucial at this point. Pretty crucial indeed. Bit of a raiding still going on from Xenia, but I'm not exactly sure why Recon is running from 2 almost dead units. Just needs to literally turn around and kill them, but he is not aware and he's taking the safest approach, which is working for him at this point. And well, Recon trying to take a 3rd TC. That's pretty much the game plan so far. We see Heroic Age from Xenia, so that's the first Gal to actually advance to Heroic from TSM's side. And well, right now she is under pretty problematic attack because Loki is not half bad against Ati, and the pickies are a problem. But with the Symphalian birds, she might be just fine if she can kill and get rid of the pesky trolls here though, because they are a very good addition to the army for Berserker exactly against this threat, and those birds will have to come in slightly later. Still a bit of raiding going on here from Recon here, but really not that much. But it's still engaging whole armies of both fan and player, which is slightly unfortunate because this is like 5 units of teal, 5 units of red, and they are being pursued by like 200 hippicons, and that's not exactly what you want to do, because this opens you to all this abusive raiding on all fronts from Iron Maiden like this. And yeah, he has to be super careful so that his gold willies aren't raided that badly, because the wall isn't finished. And well, Fan should send something extra in there. Right now, player is building a 3rd TC, protecting it with some extra hippicons by both himself and Fan, but well, on the left side, we see that Xenia is having slight problems defending because she is being more or less doubled, even though Berserker has retreated. Right now he's being replaced by Recon, who is at 3 TCs, and 3 TCs are the deal for Iron Maiden as well, and who is through Heroic also. And well, it seems like the TSMs are slowly falling behind, as Berserker is at 3 TCs in just a moment. Well, not really. I was just looking wrongly at this. Just now at 2. But I'm really looking for the Thors to advance into Balder. Yeah, already have the market here, and Balder 50% for Recon. And not yet for Iron Maiden. He will be slightly slower as he is aiming for the 30C. But really, still, it might not be actually the winning condition for AoLs, because TSMs have double ceasefire, and that could nullify the flaming weapons without any problem. I would fully expect some Fimbulwinter at this point from at least one of those Norse players there to actually protect the Balder there. And the flaming weapons, let's see if that's going to happen, or if they are just going to go for double Balder and whatnot. and some proper Ragnarok fun. Right now, finally, Fan and Player are moving into an offensive, it seems. Yeah, especially Fan is. He's having a pretty good army at this point, and he will be disrupting the building of those hill forts. And can he stop it from being built? Yes, he can. And this army is not exactly the one that should stop it, and Recon is going for a very fast Ragnarok. That's a very fast Ragnarok indeed. And even though he has been raided right now, he was kind of forced into it, because there was a lot of wheelies from Recon being raided by player, and I think this was kind of desperation Ragnarok rather than anything else, because he wanted to prevent the loss of those units, those wheelies, before he casts his most powerful god power. That's quite a lot of army though right now from Recon. Let's look at some upgrades. Radium Raiders, just the baseline. Well, that's not really all that great, even though he's really going for it with vengeance and going for Sun Temple as well, and that's going to be quite a lot of Fire Giants from him, and pretty much not a nice position. And even though Xenia has been reduced to just 2 TCs, because she has been killed by Berserker on the left side, she is retaken one on the right, so she shouldn't be at a disadvantage for much longer. Right now, though, it makes for a slightly tough battle for her, as she is fighting against 3 TCs, and yeah, the heroes of Ragnarok are inside player's base. And he is quite curiously going for Hera, and quite curiously actually it might not be that bad idea, because considering that Fen plays up to his standards, he will be quite enough with his Colossi and whatnot. Those Lightning Storm bolts could be exactly what it takes to actually get rid of this pesky Ragnarok. I think this is going to result in ceasefire, because these guys will be attacking the TC here, so this should result in one ceasefire without flaming weapons, which is slightly unfortunate for these guys, yeah. But he needed to protect the Mythical Age and prevent the terrible losses that he would suffer here, and that's pretty much it. And well, they will be not happily surprised by the Hera when she comes in. And it also buys some extra time to build some extra army and return with everything from the enemy bases. Right now player is having quite a lot of raiding, doing quite a lot of raiding in enemy bases, but Recon is probably not the correct one, because he has cast the Ragnarok and doesn't have anything. Oh, that's early. That's early. That's too early. He most definitely wanted to cast it after Flaming Weapons has been cast. Because in that moment, Recon would have been fully committed, and right now he just lost, like, not really enough. And when he was committed, he would have run away from that. And even if he did, it would just slow down the flaming weapons. And oh, come on, player, that's just showing that you don't play Hera. Bad decision, but let's see if it's going to work for him. Right now it slowed everything down, but flaming weapons are most definitely coming in pretty soon, I think. It would be worth it, even though they would be just forcing the second ceasefire, because then they would be having 2 extras for them. And Fen is also going Hera. Oh well, hello. Hello, so that's a pretty great surprise, because we won't be seeing any Forge of Hephaestus and not any Colossi either, so it's pretty interesting. So pretty good fight from AoLs on the right side, on the left as well, where Xenia is going to lose a TC that is being with Hecate, so pretty bad news for her, even if the ceasefire is not going to be cast, because it isn't at this point. And well, yep, no Hecate for her. No Hecate for her, and she is in a very bad situation at this point, because player can't defend her, and Xenia by herself cannot defend against all those guys. So another lightning storm, and that's at the back. Okay, that's killing quite a lot of heroes of Ragnarok here, but still, it's just one Ragnarok. Berserker went for hell, Iron Maiden, we are still waiting if he's going to go for anything substantial, and almost dead guys, alright, but still the TC has been killed, and yet another will be killed here as well, because player can't probably defend against all those piggies here. On the left side though, Xenia is basically killed. He's more or less out of the game, and Berserker is taking extra TCs, so I'm not exactly sure what TSMs are planning to do about this, especially without extra free unit upgrades from everything. that Hephaestus gives. Okay, so this is the first ceasefire, and that's a pretty clever one, because he wants to force actually the ceasefire because of the TC. And no, he won't force a misplay here, and these units are getting killed because player is arriving at the same battle scene as Xenia, and even though these flame weapons do their damage, they haven't been successful in luring in the second ceasefire, and TSM's apparent stupid at this occasion. Okay, so this TC has been protected, opposed to what I was saying, so pretty good job on that TSMs, and I'm slightly surprised that that did not come down, but well, it didn't, and maybe it was just because of this Medusa, who could have probably one-shotted one of those balls. Probably is right now aiming for the second one as well in just a moment here, when she actually has a special power yet again. Yes, here it is, goodbye Boar, and that's a pretty nice stop to all the plans from Iron Maiden. So this base seems to be reasonably protected on at this point. You have a bit of a raiding going on from Xenia, and Iron Maiden with another Balder and another Ragnarok coming TSM's way. So on the left side we see that the Ragnarok from Red is pretty much over. The attack from Berserker is almost done. Also almost done, but he is still not relenting, and he is having 3 TCs, and really, Xenia is in a pretty tough spot, even though she is mythic finally by herself from the other TC. Is in a pretty tough spot, and it's not like she can help all that much at this point. She is fighting a battle that's above her stance at this point due to 1 versus 3 TCs, and I think also some upgrades. No, not really. Berserker doesn't have any upgrades whatsoever. Same can be said about player at this point though, and Xenia probably also. Yep. And Fen is the next one to check. Also almost no upgrades, and Recon will be the only one with some decent ones, and probably we could be seeing something interesting for Maiden, because he was having quite a lot of time to up, and he has at least Iron Mail and get in there, and that will be pretty powerful Ragnarok from him. And some extra birdies getting killed, so no more raiding for Xenia on the trade route hit, but still she did some damage, and it was well worth it. It seems like Fen is extending himself on the right side. He will be trying to disrupt the trade route, which is not a half bad idea, and Military Academy, well, that definitely signals a whole lot of Myrmidons, and if they can get their Myrmidon pump going, it would be a pretty huge problem for AoLs, because they are triple Norse, and it's not like Norse can do a whole lot against those Myrmidon guys. Right now though, somehow on the top, a player together with Xenia are being able to hold their opponent, the Berserker, and well, Rickon is still not really fully back into the game. Right now he's still having a bit of a Heroes of Ragnarok, and has he recuperated his Echo? Not fully, just now having a few units. He's really having not anything substantial at all, so it's basically like a 2.5 versus 2, so that's basically the reason why Xenia with player are fighting at the top very well, and Fen also doing some shenanigans at the bottom and defending the base also, and he's actually joining in the fun here, and it's proper 3 versus 1 against Berserker, which should be some kind of alert bell for Iron Maiden, and well, he shouldn't really wait all that much longer with his Ragnarok, because it might get out of hand for them, and they are just buying time for TSMs to upgrade and prepare for the onslaught that is bound to come. Right now I'm just gonna check yet again for some upgrades. Nothing still for Xenia. For player, he is already getting there, and for Fen, a heavy Hypaspist and baseline, yeah, slowly but surely getting there. A bit of a raiding was going on here somehow, but they are through, and here is the Ragnarok. Here is the Ragnarok with full upgrades, and this is going to be pretty badass Ragnarok. Bronze shields, yeah, that could have been iron shields still, but they are maybe being researched somewhere, and this is going to be a pretty bad deal for them. Fen is having a pretty nice kind of beachhead here, more or less protecting the gold, and having probably some Helipoli into the trade route pretty soon. But well, let's see how TSMs can handle the second Ragnarok. They still have 1 ceasefire left, they have double underworld passage, so they can probably stop Titans from coming up. Also, the triple vortex will be helpful as well for Xenia, I would say, and it seems like Berserker has lost on the top. And it will be maybe left up to Xenia to actually defend herself, but she is going for third and second TC. She's already at second, which is basically right now protected, and once she captures the third TC, she will be well into the game, because player is employing some very nice building spam with the tower and double fortress to protect the TC and help her defend in a pretty tough spot. So the first engagement of the Ragnarok is going on at the bottom, and will we see the flame weapons at this point? Iron Maiden and Recon both have them. Recon right now, I'm not exactly sure where he wants to use them, because really, he doesn't have any army at this point, and it's going to take like 10-15 minutes before he's back into the game, because he's right now just basically remaking all his economy, and you can see that he is terribly far behind all the guys, and well, if Fen together with player can defend this second Ragnarok, it might just be going into TSM's ways this game. Well, quite interesting indeed, to be honest. So right now, Fen's army has been annihilated, which was pretty much expected due to sheer numbers, but they are heavy, still decent upgrades. But this army from Teal is eaten inside the bases here, but with a huge army of Ipaspis from player and Fen probably building their own somewhere in safety. Yep, here, waiting just for the guys here, trying to make way through into the bases. They won't really be all that successful, because if they cast flaming weapons, they will be ceasefired. So right now it's basically waiting for AoLs to engage in some good battle and possibly try to take down TC, and then to steal it and basically trick their opponents. Yeah. Basically they will be trying to do the same thing as Berserker. They will trick their opponents in actually casting a ceasefire when they are stealing a TC, I would kinda say. And that's pretty much the correct mindset at this point, because they are not really fighting all that well with the Heroes of Ragnarok. They are almost dying here, and Xenia, even though she has been yet again forced at 2 TCs, the 2 TCs are much better than 1, and the player with is at 3, Fan at 2, but not really for long. He is fighting quite well inside his base, and Iron Maiden is just counting the last unit of his Ragnarok. So yes, this Ragnarok is pretty much dead, at least at Fan's base, and this is pretty much good game over for him. And well, here, player is joining in the fun in the gold mine here, and they will be trying to actually go through here, because this gold mine is another pretty good thingy that would help them. Right now, first Helepoli making an appearance here, trying to push through the walls, which will probably be engaged by this fire giant, who is still waiting there, and a bit of a raid in here on Xenia's Willis, which is unfortunate for her, but not really all that much of a threat at this point. So Heroes of Ragnarok are more or less dealt with. So second Ragnarok has been defended without too much of a problem, I have to say. Not yet another flaming weapons cast, and still the ceasefire is in effect for Fen. Right now it will be probably the time for TSM's Zeuses to actually go into the offensive. Right now retaking the 30C, player is still full in beast mode and defending everything that he can. Right now denying Berserker his gold, possibly. If he can build some extra units there, he's actually not at all aware what is happening here. He just abandoned his base altogether, and this is slightly unfortunate for him, because he could just wreck quite a lot of dwarves here if he just noticed. So far he isn't. Well, it's a bit of a shame, but he is just now dealing with everything that he can inside the bases here. Bit of a Raiden. Well, where did you find yourself here? Medium Raider from Recon, okay. And Recon slowly getting back into the game, yeah, already having at least a decent amount of villagers, and finally pumping some extra army, even though they won't really be upgraded. I think just throwing Axemen without any upgrade whatsoever, but just some from armory. So situation here contained, and in the middle it seems like Fen is trying to take the battle back inside AoL's bases. Finally, after like 20 minutes of game time, and well, those fire giants are right now the only thing that Recon can supply that can make some kind of difference, and they seem to be making the difference. But with the Bellerophon here, who is looking for those guys exactly on the assassination mission, just wasted his hero power, but he will be killing it without any problem, I guess. On here, finally, player has noticed that something is happening, and yep, just a few Myrmidons is going to be what it takes to kill all those Ulfsarks, even under the tower fire. And yeah, this gold gathering is not safe anymore, and this is probably going to result into change into some Ulfsarks. So still pretty good idea, and building some Medusa here. And this guy, Manticore, is pretty powerful, and he should be maybe shooting at those guys because he has area of effect damage. So Fan going for the Wonder, or rather, well, Wonder, for the Titan as the first player in the game, and at the same time he is still very much fighting with his opponents in the middle and trying to capture the gold, which is up for the taking. Even though there are some buildings from Iron Maiden, he is not building that much, and he's still somehow popped, because he's still having some Heroes of Ragnarok here, but they are not really going to survive all that long. But Fan still has to be careful, and basically they are right now very dependent on the gold, especially Fan, because Fan doesn't have any trade route established at all, and well, that's not a good news for him. Quite a lot of artillery going on at the top from Berserker, which is pretty much the only thing he can do at this point it seems, and he is trying to put Xenia out of the game yet again. But she might be returning, just as we have seen a bit earlier. Right now she will probably need some help from player, because she can't really hold all this extra firepower. Like 9 ballistae together with 3 fire giants, that's just not something that she can stop, and she will need full help here, so that the trade route for player is not disrupted. Player is seeing this quite heavily, or quite nicely, and helping her, and well, he is also in the middle right now gathering gold there, just quite safely, and it seems like it's some kind of interim at this point. Not really all that much happening. Recon has finally returned fully into the game, and well, right now maybe we will see some flamey weapons from him when he is fully popped. Still just medium raiders, but he is having still good upgrades from his Ragnarok, so not all that bad. But this Titan could be the thing that decides all this nonsense, because those Heroes of Ragnarok are gone. And there will be a very heavy, very hard defense against that. That will be just a whole lot of fire giants. I'm just looking at the walls here, and it seems like they are more or less compact. Even though that's not really true anymore, as Iron Maiden is mounting an attack with quite a lot of fire giants and some portable rams to actually try and put Fan out of his DCs, which is not a bad idea. I'm not exactly sure where Fan is fighting at this point, because I literally see 0 army from him. I see literally 0 army from him. They're still fighting some remnants of the Ragnarok here. Well, full upgrades, fully, okay. And he has having quite a hard time actually winning this, it seems. Even though he's having decent upgrades. I absolutely can't comprehend why he isn't switching into Myrmidons. Myrmidons fully just continue with his pacifists, but okay. Finally, at least some Myrmidons here. And he might actually need help from some of his allies, because not even the Titan can actually help against this. And they might just make their way there fast enough. No, they won't. They won't, it's just too far behind. But this damage is pretty bad for Fan, because Iron Maiden is somehow having an upper hand, and he is still having his flaming weapons, so if he pulls them, that would be pretty bad for him. So we see some first underworld passage, which is to this spot, so it seems like Fan has called for help. Where is the other? Okay, behind the DC here. So he is right now helping his ally, Fan. Right now, this should result in Fan finally being able to actually defend the position there. So, right now he will be 20 pop less. So that much of a problem for him if he is not having upper hand. And let's see if that's going to help him with Titan here. Well, not really sure about that, but we'll see. The battle at the top seems like Xenia is not doing all that well, and it's player engaged fully in the battle here, and he's fighting basically 1v1 with Berserker. And doing all he can to somehow wall in the middle of the map. Well, you can see that player is really doing quite well with the walling, and it's probably just to make sure that he isn't surprised by some attacks by his opponents that he wouldn't expect, and that he has some kind of measure of map control altogether. You can see that Recon is doing the same, and that's how important walls actually are. So Fan's forward base has been killed, as you can see, and his base here is just getting hammered. He's just not fighting all that well against Iron Maiden, just not having the correct units, and he's sending everything to their death, and he will be needing the help from player to pull on this, before these portable rams just kill the TC, because once he is just 2 against 3, it's going to be all that worse. These guys are a huge problem, these fire giants, and since he doesn't have the pop at this point, well, pretty bad news. I'm not sure why Fan isn't repairing at all. just now losing the TC. He probably wasn't aware at all that his TC is under attack. He's just right now panicking and moving his release. So he probably wasn't aware at all, and in the middle not much happening here. I was just looking if maybe Recon was in there, and the Titan is not really finding his targets yet, and he's being hammered by Recon. So that's at least something. That means that one of the armies of Recon at least is being tied by the Titan, which is well worth it, as it gives some extra time for potentially Xenia and player to defend on the top and somehow capture the TC if they can manage. A lot of Archive together with Fanatics is exactly the army that Xenia needs to defend against the nonsense that Berserker is putting her through. And well, he needs to kinda improve in here in some kind of upgrades to actually help her take the TC back. In the home base of Fan, it seems like the situation has been reasonably contained, at least for the moment. And well, right now it seems like that TSMs are severely missing their Colossi, because Medusae are just not doing the job, especially when you see the huge amount of Jarls at this point, legendary Jarls from Iron Maiden, and they will be the pretty good cavalry to take care of any problems. Right now though, Fan is finally building an army of full Myrmidons, and they could be taking care of this job, and Recon is going for flaming weapons. And probably... oh well, he's trying to force some fun at the back here. That's pretty good idea to actually disrupt the extra economy from their opponents, and well, not a bad idea at all. And these flaming weapons are... not exactly sure why he called them. Probably because he was again hoping that he will force extra ceasefire from his opponents, and yeah, it doesn't seem to be working, but yet again, quite a lot of raid in here, and player has lost his trade route, and yeah, Recon is just wreaking havoc at the economy here, and that's a pretty bad news for TSMs, as they are not aware at all, and well, this could be actually pretty important at this stage. So here we see some very nice vortex into quite a lot of release from Berserker, so that's a very nice disruption, and Xenia will be trying to somehow capture this gold. Even though it's just 1300, it might be quite enough, and this Titan from Fan has still not done really any significant damage. It's just containing the army from Recon, which is also pretty good, but since he is doing the shenanigans on the right, it might not be enough. He's almost at half health, finally getting at the DCs to ease some pressure on his master, and the battle here seems to be more or less even, with a lot of tower spam, and still waiting for Fan to actually get back into the game fully. I'm still not seeing any army whatsoever from him. I'm totally confused by that, to be honest. I'm not exactly sure what is going on with the game here. Well, Recon's still going on with this raiding. And finally, Fan is having some army at the back and trying to deal with the nuisance here from Recon. And yeah, this is exactly not what he wants to do, because right now he wants to fight against his opponent Iron Maiden on the bottom side, and this is not really all that great from him. Okay, another vortex here to kill all that more release from Berserker, and it could be a pretty good idea. Let's just have a look how strained the economy for Berserker is. Another gold. And yeah, he is having 3000 gold, so that's something they don't know, so he doesn't care at all about the gold, but it was maybe more about Xenia actually capturing it, which he right now does. A lot of Myrmidons right now, it seems like champion Myrmidons with finally almost full upgrades, and they are doing the job right now against Berserker, and they could be exactly what is needed to push him through. Right now a lot of buildings, but they are almost half dead, like all of them, so that will be pretty much easy to take down, and this is fully engaged player here, and I don't think that Berserker will be able to stand this much longer. He doesn't even have champions and full upgrades, so that's that. But at the bottom, Fan can't really stand against this might, because he is still not having enough army, as he is having to deal with the problems at the back, and these problems are pretty serious, and he can't fight at all without the extra pop that is being eaten by the Titan, and the Titan is not doing enough. He's not even killing TCs of his opponents. You can see that Iron Maiden has rebuilt his third in just a matter of seconds, basically. And well, right now the game stands and falls with the top game. If player together with Xenia can put Berserker out of the game and allow Xenia to get back at 3 TCs and allow her to play proper 1v1 and 3 players units, he might be able to help Fan and actually push the game through on the bottom. Right now you can see that Iron Maiden is having absolutely huge amount of ballistae, 11 ballistae. They just, yeah, TC down, underworld passage down as well. There's absolutely no way that that's going to stay without any army whatsoever defending against that. Fan, though, might be able to at least put Recon out of this position and restore the trade route for his opponents, for his allies rather. And finally some extra TC being killed by the Titan, and it would be just kind of a victory for for Fan right now if he just lost the Titan, because yeah, he's just not doing the job, not doing the trick for Fan at this point. Xenia is the next one who is going for a Titan, and I think that's not a half bad idea because she has been out of the game for majority of it, and at this point it could help her be quite useful in the game and help her teammates turn the game around. That's also quite a lot of ballistae still, but it seems like they might be in a pretty bad spot as they are right now getting killed by a few Myrmidons and some Willies as well, but come on, player, just try to repair it. It's not going down as fast as these guys are almost dead. Yeah, that was seriously a last minute goal, and all these extra towers with concentrated fire on the ballistae just saved the day here. And well, the underworld passage is going to stay, and the player is free to help his teammate at this point, and all those extra release should be built in the TC in some kind of reasonable time. And the Titan is still somehow alive with 300 hit points and still binding the army from Recon, and it seems like Recon though is doing a pretty good job at the back of disrupting the economy here, and they need to deal with it, and they still haven't, but they will need to. So the TC is finally back up for Fan, which should allow him to have some extra population limit that he needs to deal with the back recon, and well, underworld passage is done, and extra towers will be what is going to need Fan for defending the TC against his opponents. Right now Fan is having quite a decent army, especially with the Myrmidons here having been upgraded into champions and having quite nice upgrades at this point. And well, it seems like he might be moving to defend against problems here at the back, and especially this is true for player who is right now out of trade. But he was already prepared with second market right there. It seems like Berserker has been completely cleaned off the left side of the map. Still some extra gold here. Quite a lot of extra gold actually. And the Titan is making his last attempt at this TC, which he probably won't be successful in because of those fire giants. Let's just have a look if he can at least lower it to some reasonable hit points. Yeah, that will be pretty close to death. One hit, yeah, he did hit it. And finally he is down, and right now Fan should be in with full strength, with 3 TCs, and have all the population aimed at his steel opponent. So right now there should be quite a lot of Myrmidons streaming into battlefield, and still quite a lot of gold here that's free. So they don't really need the trade route and they can deal with it. Right now seems like player is taking the charge of getting Recon out of this position, which is just as well, and Xenia has finished her Titan and she is at 3 TCs. So this game might be turning around on its head at this point, as you can see that player is still pushing forward without not much army from Berserker here. He is just eating into the hill fort here, trying to put out of commission the ballista makers basically. With the TC down there, with the Titan down though, Recon is free to use his army into full attack, which is right now going to happen, and well, this is quite nice, quite nice actually fortifications just outside the walls of the opponent base. And well, how's it going with the battle here? Yeah, finally what we expected. It seems like Iron Maiden is right now overdoing on the ballista yet again, and the 3 TCs from Fan finally full pop. He is getting on the even hands, on the even grounds here, and doing quite well to disrupt the opponent's efforts. At the back it seems like that Recon's adventure will be over pretty soon, even though he's right now pushing all his population limit here, as he pretty much can without any problem, but with all those Helepoli and the sheer strength of the mythical Zeus units, with very nice upgrades, and the Petropoli as well, this should be kinda easy job for him. So we have another vortex which has went where? At this point I'm not exactly sure, I haven't seen it. Here, okay, to help Fan, and that's most definitely going to help him because Xenia has been able to amass quite a lot of army, exactly the right units, quite a lot of Argyle. That's exactly what Fan needs to help because he needs to get rid of those throwing axemen, and this should be the push that Fan is looking for and to put Iron Maiden out of commission here altogether. So pretty nice play for Xenia, who is having pretty decent upgrades as well, even though not full. She was having a pretty tough game. Well, I'm pretty glad and happy for her that she is finally at 3 TCs and fighting as much as she can. The Titan is making her way through the middle, possibly trying to disrupt some of the units here, but that's not what she should be doing. She should be aiming for the TCC yet again, and possibly right now it would be a pretty good idea to go for Iron Maiden, because if they can push, allow Fen to push through here on the right side, it would be the greatest of achievements at this point of the game, because once Fen is finally unleashed, it will be fully to Zeus power in the Mythic. Player is still having at the same time quite a lot of problems actually handling recon for some very obscure reason. I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe because player is engaged somewhere else in fight. I don't really see him anywhere else right now. So it's just that he's probably overdone on economy. He's having quite a lot of donkeys here, and he's right now getting hammered with some portable rams at his main DC, which is something he did not expect. And really, he's getting pretty hammered by Recon, which is slightly surprising, especially considering the choice of the units here. You can see that's a lot of hoplites. They should be just killing the raiding cavalry here. And right now player is losing a TC, and he will be needing help from either Xenia or Fen, because he is losing a TC. And fighting 2 against 3 is not going to help him in achieving anything. So right now the Titan for Xenia is arriving at the bottom, trying to lift up the stranglehold that Iron Maiden has on Fen. And actually the vortex wasn't enough for Fen to somehow push through here. That's supremely surprising altogether here. Just really incredibly well played by AoL so far, that they are able to somehow out-strategy and out-micro their opponents in the battles here. Xenia is somehow trying to make a push through the left side and somehow take a Berserker 1v1 basically. Well, it's not a bad idea. And she is biting pretty much all his armies at this point, but not all of those, because Berserker is pursuing the Titan, who is already at half health, and if he can though kill Orcs, it just might be exactly at this point what Fen needs. At the back of the bases here, player has somehow gotten back into the situation, into control of the situation here, and maybe could be able to get rid of this. And well, I'm just gonna have a quick look at the post game, because I'm kinda concerned for player. In the economy, 110, and how much does he have gold? Not much surplus. He's pretty strained, just a lot of wood here, so he isn't doing anything wrong with his economy. But Xenia right now lost the TC because they weren't paying any attention at all, and they have left, oh my, just basically to let Berserker rebuild. And yeah, we have problem number 2 happening here for Xenia, but she should be able to rebuild the TC without all that much of a trouble. But she needs some extra units back here, and she needs to abandon the attempt to actually take down Berserker in the middle. She needs to send some units back, because she needs to get rid of all these buildings, and she is at this point, I think, pretty much unaware that this is happening here, and that's very bad news indeed. Player is trying to help her through some extra towers. And at the bottom, it seems like that Iron Maiden is still not really out of commission, and Berserker is having quite a lot of army here bound. So I'm kinda curious, why isn't he losing at the top? And that's another portable ram army coming in, and fans still having all kinds of troubles defending against all this. So finally some sky passage from Xenia as well, and this is more or less a goodbye TC, even though the villages are not half bad. But this Titan shouldn't be fighting against units at all. He should be fighting against buildings. And even though he killed quite a lot of fortresses or other hill forts, he still has some to go. And right now he's just getting hammered without any reason. And even though the portable army has been killed, it still dealt like 3/4 of the damage, which is not something that Fan was hoping for. Right now he is opting for some extra spam of towers, and well, it's a pretty good idea. But with leading all those ballistae next to the range of the TC, it might result exactly in killing the TC as well, kinda inadvertently here, or also not. We just have to be careful here. And they are, and well, still player back at 3 TC is fully engaged with Rickon at the back. And yep, this is a very tough battle for him, as he has to help Xenia on the left as well. He is having his hands full with doing all that. Player has lost yet another TC, and it was another raiding party from the portable Rams. And that's a pretty annoying strategy right now for TSMs, I would guess, because it's really doing quite a lot of damage and has limited counterplay as these guys are super fast. And well, trade is going to be disrupted for Fan, and I better hope that he is aware, because he was trading with this TC, which is right now down, and player will be fighting yet again a pretty bad battle. Right now he might be wanting to switch into Myrmidons yet again, if he has enough economy, because right now hoplites are good, but it could be better against Ulfsarks, of course. And he is probably trying to push through the left for some fun, with some wheelies and walling, and also some extra military buildings, or rather military units, so pretty nice attempt right there. Something else happening somewhere else. Well, Xenia just kind of waiting with the Titan around, trying to clear the hull forts yet again, but they are still cropping up at pretty insane tempo from Iron Maiden, and he's just not having enough time to take them down. He's almost dead, just a few extra salves, and at this point though Fan is having the TC repaired and having finally enough military academies here, but he doesn't have enough resources here. He's probably out of gold altogether, I would say. Yeah, right now he's sent to another TC, and that's not good news at all for him. I'm not sure why he isn't going for this gold, because he's very much free still, and right now he's being raided by extra Jarls at the right, and they might get inside his base through possibly the gut trees here, even though it seems like it's still intact. Well, Xenia is still being denied her 30C back, because she is still having kind of a problem dealing with Berserker inside her base, but the Helifort has been killed, and the extra heavy siege Bireme that is dealing damage from the back is extra siege that she needs, and finally she will be putting Berserker out of commission, and well, that's about that. Pretty nice attempt by players still here, and he is trying to get into the trade route and disrupt the economy of their opponents, and also try maybe some shenanigans with some extra hidden military academy and do something, but well, it seems like player is well aware, and right now the TC hasn't been taken down, which was slightly unfortunate because it's very close. But yeah, that's how it goes. So 2 Titans are already gone for TSMs. And here we see. Oh wow! Yeah, just looking at this TC, what the hell did you cast, Fan? What did you cast at this point? What did you cast at this point? Wow! Wow! That was. I'm not exactly sure why they are resigning. I don't really think they have lost. But maybe he just rage quit because he just misplayed here because he didn't notice the TC. But yeah, that was quite surprising and quite a good game. Not exactly sure why TSMs resigned here. If it was just because of the ceasefire or not, I'm not exactly sure. But really, it was absolutely surprising how AoLs were able to control TSMs for the majority of the game, and how the TSMs weren't able to push through, even though they had the same population limit, the same upgrades. They were after 2 Ragnaroks that they have defended quite decently, I think, without much of a problem. And finally, when they were at such equal game in the late game, they just couldn't push through. This was definitely a mistake that they didn't notice and let Recon go there. This was, at this point, I would think this was a game winner for AoLs, this back base, because it basically bound a lot of army from player and fan for a majority of the game. And well, that might have been what decided the game, but still, this was kind of unexpected resign and unexpected ceasefire altogether. Well, that was about it. And let's check at the post game. With player having total score best, he was doing all he could. He was doing quite well with the army, defending both Xenia and Fen, and he was really one hell of a pocket. Not much resources distributed, really. $630, $402. That's a pretty good, pretty good ratio. Or rather, isn't. Player is having the better ratio. Yes, the other way around. Influence, okay. Okay, well, those Jarls were doing the job quite decently for Iron Maiden. Really, they were just killing Fenn, and he couldn't get back on his feet. And in this game, those Titans were practically useless, I have to say. They didn't do literally anything. They were just binding a bit of army from Recon, but they didn't kill like they killed like 3 TCs maybe. That's about it. And yeah, they really weren't the correct choice. Maybe could have been better spent in fighting fully and investing into the upgrade sooner for TSMs. Who knows? Yeah, Fen was just out of any resources. That was probably why he was resigning. Okay then, GG.